Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for listening today, tuning in. This probably might be, to me and my coaching, and for me and my mindset, and for my practice and my clients, this probably might be the most beneficial chit chat I ever record. So I really I go to the foundation, right? I go deep, right, with my work, with my clients. And right now, in our collective consciousness, let's call it, like, what's going on in our world, right, is out of harmony. Let's just put it that way, right? We're coming into a time right now where the world, the earth, right? We live in harmony. Like the seasons, like time. If you just look at, like, the greater reality of principles of laws, that we sleep in the dark at night, we wake up in the morning, those kinds of things, there's a harmony, right? That we can rely on, that's happening, right? But for some reason, collectively, and when I say collectively, if there's like two sides of a sword, right? There's one side that's harmony, and there's one side that's disharmony. From when I say collective, that's like this look of, so we're looking at a sword here, right? And here's the collective side where everything's in harmony, everyone's getting along, people's needs are being met, and they're wanting things, and things are going their way, everything's working in their favor. And then obviously the other side is disharmony, where people are thinking and feeling and behaving where in a distrust, right? In a way that is emotionally blocked, right? And so what I'm talking about fundamentally here is fear, right? And so if you're looking at this sword again, I kind of talk off the cuff. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this whole sword thing, but just bear with me. I only have a certain amount of time. I've got to hop on another appointment, but I want to get through that, just how fundamentally important this is for you to understand in this lifetime, okay? That on this two sides of this sword, right? We're looking at, right? If it's how we're thinking, right? And how we're embodying energy through our bodies and our lives, right? We're projectors, right? So, and this sword, like, one side is love, right? And the other side is fear. And so I won't say anything else to that place, but where are you focusing? Where are you living? How are you waking up in the morning? Are you waking up in a loving place? Are you waking up and, the opposite, the fear, and understanding that fear, our emotions are very, very, very powerful, right? Excuse me. And there's a lot more research around emotions and emotional intelligence, we call it, right? And if we're looking at that sword, the back and forth of, standing here with a sword, which side am I, what the duality really of life and of the world and of harmony and disharmony, those kinds of things, and how when our emotions are not being um expressed, right? Fear becomes just our leading edge, right? It leads us everywhere, it wants to go. And understanding that emotions are creative forces, right? And understanding that, emotional intelligence, if we even want to call it that, I don't even understand that, um, but what I'm talking about is disciplining our emotions, right? Disciplining our creativity, right? These creative forces that are our emotions that are in us, right? And they're invisible, right? But the harmony of understanding uncontrolled emotions, right? When you're out and about in this harmonious world and understanding that, these consciousness emotions, right? We see it all the time. We just don't talk about it. We don't have a deeper understanding and recognition of understanding in the world, that if I go to, I don't know, the grocery store, the hardware store right now, and there's a person there that is having a difficult experience, right? And say they're emotionally feeling and they're out of control and they're undisciplined in their emotions, right? And understanding that that is what's happening and that that is possible in this lifetime, right? That we're all projecting, we're projectors, right? Of what's happening inside of us, okay? And if that on that sword, if it's like here's discipline and here's undisciplined, here's controlled, here's uncontrolled, that I'm waking up in the morning and I'm asking myself how I'm feeling, right? Am I feeling great about my reality or am I feeling like shit? Right? And understanding like, okay, if I'm feeling like shit, I'm probably in fear. Pardon my vulgarity, but I'm just trying to be real here. I'm trying to bring it down, right? That you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to be with anybody else in order to adjust, okay? Adjust your sword. Do you want to be in love? Everything's going my way. I'm controlled. I'm disciplined in my emotions. I'm feeling, I'm self-aware, right? Of what's happening inside of me, my internal harmony or disharmony is going to create my outer reality. It's going to create, my what's happening in my life, okay? And what my experiences are and what I can understand what's happening outside of me is also a projection of what I'm asking for within me, right? And unfortunately and fortunately, because you're learning right now that this is all about us, right? And if you're waking up in fear, right? Or if you're realizing like, man, I am fearful, right? And fear is a good thing. It's not all bad, right? But when we isolate, when we get down on ourselves, when we're hyper, when we're critical of ourselves or we're judgmental, no heat, no judgment, right? But a lot of us grow up with crappy stuff happening, right? And then we just get used to crappiness, and that's the familiar, right? We're familiar with feeling down about ourselves, and it goes in deeper, right? Because we don't feel lovable. Okay. So at the end of this video, I'm going to tap, right? Because tapping, if you haven't watched me tap yet, I want you to go and stop this video and watch one of the earlier, if you scroll down in this Facebook group or in my YouTube channel, look for, or anywhere. I don't care where you look, but learn how to tap, because I'm not going to teach you in this video because I don't have time. But tapping is a great way to adjust, okay? And like I said, you don't need to go anywhere, be around anyone. You don't need any structure. Your internal being, right, will get you out of fear, right? If you can rely on that, right? Because we have good emotions, right? And we have bad emotions. And the bad emotions, right? I mean, there's scientific data. I'm not gonna go into the science or the psychology here, but that when we're in bad emotions, right? When we're feeling negative, when we're thinking negative, it impacts our tissues in our body. It creates error in our bodies, right? And so if you're looking, at a diagnosis, at a cure, I am a firm believer in being able to cure ourselves from within, because what we create in our bodies, right? And I'm not talking about pediatric, that's a whole different conversation. But in adulthood, when we are diagnosed, I have a diagnosis too. I'm not immune to medical issues, right? But I understand that I have created a medical issue in my body, and it's my responsibility now, with my, getting out of denial, getting out of bad habits, getting out of this framework of fear, because fear and the bad emotions and negative emotions have created discord in my body. And now it's showing up, and it's my responsibility to shift, to adjust, right? So this is personal too. I mean, and so I want to empower you to not get into this disharmony mindset that is just pervasive in our culture now, pervasive in our world, the world of the have-nots, right? Because again, I go back to, the world is in harmony. The ocean is still there, it's still salty, right? The sun is still rising, the sun is still setting. We still are on our axis in our universe, in our galaxy. right? We're okay. We're spot on. We're exactly where we're supposed to be in this lifetime, right? But the shift is internally getting ourselves into the harmony that is spiritual nature, is nature in itself, right? Those are the laws that I work with my clients, is that everything is in divine order, right? And that everything is consciously playing out exactly how it's supposed to be. You and I are meeting in this moment for a very powerful purpose, because these kinds of conversations, this kind of information that I am giving you will change your life. Because if you apply it to your life and you start tapping and you start saying, you know what, fear ain't for me anymore. I'm not going into this victim mindset where nothing's going my way. I can't have it all, um, something's missing, all these things that I'm playing in this mind games and psychological, BS, right? Staying out of those cords, right? Because every mental projection that we experience, it extends out a cord, and this is all invisible, right? This is all, but you know it because you feel it, right? You feel it. I almost dropped a bad word and I didn't do it, but that's how, as a coach, this is where I am, with my own life and with my practice and with my clients and with, all the content that I am giving out, now for people to stay aligned, get aligned, cure themselves, all the good things, right? Because it is an adjustment, right? It's an adjustment of our attitude, and it's adjustment of our emotions. And it doesn't happen overnight because we've got childhood stuff, right? As a life coach, I really work with people in the present, the goals, but a lot of the mindset blocks that come up, these subconscious constitutions, like I'm not lovable, is a really, really powerful one. So if you grew up, in a family, like Claudia Black, I've studied a lot of different people that doesn't come from me. If you grow up in environments where you're not getting the unconditional positive regard, no heat, no judgment on caregivers, but you might have a internal core wound of that I'm not lovable. So that fear is your go-to. If you're not lovable, if you're not receiving the love of nature, of abundance, of whatever your spiritual beliefs are, I'm open to all spiritual beliefs, all spiritual namesakes. And, because it's not the issue, our issue is not our spiritual belief system. Our issue is our issue with our issues, right? Those are the issues that I work with on people. So I'm open to all belief systems. So if I drop a God or an Allah, understand, or Buddha, that is, those are meaningful, enlightened beings. Jesus in this, realm of antiquity that we can go to ground ourselves, right? To get meaning out of our harmony of existence, right? And a lot of times that the antiquated texts were written in symbols. So understanding that these symbols play out in our lives, we see them all the time, right? And they're very, very powerful for us if we look for them, and if we look for evidence of a butterfly, or of a yod, if you're familiar with, Hebrew. These are very powerful symbols that are very, very, so I can, if you're working with me privately, I'll go all out with you. But for the sake of brevity here, we're just going to stay to the capacity to understanding, processing your emotions, right? Right when you wake up in the morning, I highly recommend you to ask yourself, what am I feeling, right? Or during the day, what am I feeling? In order to stay in a mindset of higher, like, I want to do greater things. I want to be a great person. I want to, shine in this planet, shine in this world, and not be taken out by silliness, let's put it that way, because the forces of our emotions, they have a capacity to produce and create. That is how powerful our emotions are. And understanding that if they're undisciplined and they're uncontrolled and they're unexpressed and they're repressed in us, right? That's why we see the ticking time bombs of people, drinking too much alcohol, having criminal activity, right? Raging at a hardware store over, just not having the available item that you need, or your returns not going well, the line's too long, these things of patience, right? Where we're just going back to this unlovability place where we just don't feel supported. We don't feel like the universe has our back, everything's working in our favor. If we're just in this place of patience, right? So understanding that, and so trying to describe to you, like if somebody's freaking out next to you, right, and you're calm, what is happening there is subnormal, right? It's super normal. The excitement of feelings, I can be calm or I can be upset and someone else can be okay next to me, right? And supporting me. That is the subnormal, super normal context of what emotions are, right? Okay, so I want you to understand that. Tip one, getting in touch with our emotions and being okay with it, being okay with being sad, being okay with being excited, but understanding that a lot of times these emotions can go back to our core beliefs in our subconscious mind of like, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy of being excited, my sadness, there's shame around my sadness because I'm a dude, and dudes are supposed to be tough and strong and carry the load. They're not supposed to feel like, that's BS, okay? So we're moving past that, because in order to process our emotions, that's what taps us in, right? Taps us into the chemical change, the chemical change in our tissues of the body, right? We want good emotions because that is what's going to promote changes in our body, changes for our own sake that we want. We want to heal, we want to cure, we want to feel great in our bodies, right? We want to feel good about our bodies. And this all comes from, right, this double-edged sword. Where are you on your sword, right? Where are you in this mental plane of emotional equilibrium, right? And understanding that emotions are subnormal. Everybody and the planet right now could be having a different emotion, right? But we're all in harmony. So understanding that, and where are you in this harmony, disharmony, balance, right? I want you to be in alignment. If you're working with me, that I do the work with you to get us, out of fear, because fear is subtle. Fear is destructive. Fear is a painful emotion, right? And it paralyzes mental action. It's going to hold you stuck for as long as you let it. And it's a rabbit hole and there's a snake in there, right? And like that's not what we want to do, right? We want to get out of the rabbit hole. We want to live a beautiful life. We want to see colors. We want to feel our feelings. We want to understand nature, and I've worked with people that for the first time, they're seeing a sunset, right? And that's the emotional blocks that happen, right? In us for whatever reason. We won't go into the reasons right now. But I want you to understand that fear is a weakening effect. Like I said, it's a weakening effect on the mind, on the body, and denial. This denial hides the mighty spiritual forces, right? That are always around us, working in our favor, working in us, right? But if we're in denial, if we're in fear, if we're hiding out, right? We have to affirm power. We have to choose to affirm presence, the presence of spirit. And that is how fear is cast away, right? A lot of times when I'm start to work with people, they're not in a place of faith, right? Because also a great antidote to fear is faith, right? But a lot of times, a lot of people have been, I won't even go there, but our faith is, it needs our attention. It needs our love. It needs our grace, and because remember, we're a focal point. We're a target, and I don't want to scare you by using that word or make you want to go shop, right? That's me. But I want you to know that you're a focal point of spirit. Spirit wants the best for you and you want the best for spirit, right? And so understanding that flow is happening when we're in love. So I'm focusing on love here, right? And understanding, yeah, there is a selfless element to me, right? That I work on being selfless, but it's not for everyone, because I want to see the spirit in everything and everyone. And that is, that can be a goal for you too, but it's a personal, goal for me. And I really want you, and why this is so critical is to just get out of fear. because fear is not real. Fear is connected to our undisciplined, uncontrolled, repressed, emotions and emotions are normal. We're all here to feel. We're all here to freak out sometimes. We're all here to cry, to have a full range of emotions, right? And understanding that loving for me and my coaching, loving for the sake of loving is where, I am in my life. And that is to be selfless and without fear is the confidence, right? Is what the strength, right? The strength that is in us, through us, all around us, right? But we, and then in this time in our lives, this modern time where we're very easily distracted, where, there's a lot of resistance, understanding that that is fear, that there's a lot of people that might be saying to us, they're not wanting our highest and greatest good, right? And that's okay. That's, hey, whatever floats your boat for other people. But if you're in my coaching container, that it's time to really go inward and not base our reality on materiality, right? Because that's not going to get us, that's only temporary relief, right? And understanding that vibration, our heartbeat, how we think, what we think we deserve, what we think we're worthy of, how lovable we think we are. This is all part of what manifests, quote unquote, shows up in the physical reality, right? So let's start tapping a little bit because I don't want to run out of time. So we're going to take a deep breath. Maybe roll your neck a little bit round. And if you have any physical limitations, just close your eyelids and see, feel, imagine. So we're in a healthy, curing, healing, harmony world. That our body is completely connected and surrounded and supported by all the harmonious forces of the universe. Taking a deep breath in and out. Dropping our shoulders, relaxing our belly, just bringing our mind, and if you're multitasking right now, just bringing your mind centered to where you are in the world and what parts of you are connected to something that's holding you up, something that's carrying you. Maybe it's you're sitting like I am, feet on the floor, hands in your lap, or maybe you're multitasking, driving. But just bringing your awareness inward. Another deep breath in, exhaling out. So you can either keep your eyelids closed, and if you're driving, I always recommend keeping your eyes open, yes. But taking the bottom of your hand, sorry, I'm like cold right now. This part of your hand, or right or left, and you can tap on your thigh, or you can tap on your heart, your thymus gland, and this is a big center of nerves that will heal your body, heal your energy, calm you down. So again, if you're driving or you're multitasking, just tap your heart or your thymus gland here. I always say thymus or thalamus, I gotta look it up, but or the top of your thigh. So those are the rest of us. Let's do the karate chop. Start there. And just allowing a word, setting an intention right now, just tapping on our karate chop. You can do your dominant hand or your non-dominant hand first, doesn't matter. Move this camera down so you can see me a little bit better. Woo! We're gonna tap right now because there's a lot of fear right now. And I feel fear. I sense fear, and I don't even know where the fear is coming from, but I'm aware of it. top of head. There's so much fear. Oh, and even though there's so much fear, I deeply love, honor, and respect myself. There is so much fear. And even though I am aware that there is so much fear, I deeply love and respect myself. Oh, so frustrating when I wake up and I'm afraid. And even though sometimes I wake up and I'm tired and I don't want to get up and I just want to stay in bed and think that there's no point, I know that that's fear. And I can choose to deeply love, honor, and respect myself. Oh, what is the purpose of all this fear? All these voices in me that tell me, all these voices outside of me that tell me to suffer, to be a victim. To think little of myself. Cross your arms on your hip bones, tapping your fingers. All this fear that there's no jobs, that there's no opportunities, that there's no cures, there's no point or purpose. Oh, I know now that that's fear. And it's dark. And it's heavy. And it doesn't feel good. So it is. But I understand that fear is contagious. And I am learning to feel, to connect to my emotions. That my emotions are not scary. And a lot of times, my fear is really just my feelings. And I can pause, and I can tap, and I can ask myself, what am I feeling? And I can listen to the response. And I can ask myself what I need, what this feeling is about, what this feeling is telling me about my reality. Is it a good feeling? I'd like it to be good. Or is it a negative feeling? It's just causing me to have more fear, to experience more doubt. But I know now that I am so lovable. I am so handsome. I am so beautiful. That my body is radiating pure light. That all of my internal organs are getting all the love and the support and the nutrition that they need. And that I am asking for courage. That I am asking for love. that I am asking for healing, that I am worthy of harmony, the harmony of nature, the harmony of the seasons, the harmony of the ocean and the mountains and the sunshine. And that this fear and these negative emotions are just clouds and they can go by. And I can tap and I can move myself, my emotions, my feeling nature into joy, into abundance, into love, into good things and positive expectations that get me out of fear. That tell me again how supported I am in my reality, how loved I am in this lifetime. That tapping moves all these negative emotions that attach to fear. And I can know now that I say my name, Catherine, am worthy of love. I am worthy of great faith, whatever that means to me. I am worthy of clearing out all this fear. I am worthy of clearing out all this fear. I'm worthy of forgiving anyone that told me to fear, anyone that told me to believe that I can't feel my emotions, that my emotions are safe. I am safe to feel my emotions. They're not going to hurt me. My emotions are going to free me. Free me to feel so good in this lifetime and stay out of fear. That I get to be so excited about love, about my new reality that I'm creating just by tapping, just by loving myself and honoring myself. That's my responsibility and it's fun and it feels good. Taking care of me is awesome. And for that, I'm so grateful. So taking a deep breath in, shaking our hands out. And I hope you have a glorious and beautiful day. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I can't wait to hear from you. Drop a comment, DM me, PM me, however you wish. And I can't wait to connect.